The first step in putting together the two sections of the sickle bar attachment is to assemble the transmission. To do so, you will need the following tools: two 10mm wrenches, two 13mm wrenches, one 17mm wrench, and two 22mm wrenches or socket. For oil bath transmissions, first check the oil level by removing the top plug using a 17mm wrench. The oil level should be approximately 2 1/4 inches below the top of the housing. For dual-action transmissions, the desired level is 1 1/2 inches below the plug. If the level is low, add 80 to 90 weight gear oil. Replace the top plug and attach the deflector shield to the crank arm with the longer of the two 14mm bolts. For greasable and short oil bath transmissions, two spacers must be inserted between the shield and the crank. For long oil bath transmissions, only one spacer is required, and for dual-action transmissions, no spacers are required. Secure with the corresponding washer and nut and tighten completely using two 22mm wrenches. Position the bottom hole of the lower half of the bracket over the roll pin extending from the flange. Tap the bracket until it contacts the casting, and using two 13mm wrenches, secure it with the 8mm bolt and nut, making sure that the head of the bolt is on the tractor side of the flange. Next, insert the shorter 14mm bolt through the shield and the top hole of the upper portion of the bracket. Then, using two 10mm wrenches, attach the upper portion of the bracket to the lower portion with the two 6mm bolts and nuts. The configuration will depend upon the style of transmission. In the case of this short oil bath transmission, the support hole is pointed forward and the bracket is positioned on the forward side of the gearbox flange. Finally, secure the upper bracket to the shield with the washer and nut. Check that all hardware is tight before moving on to the bottom bar assembly. With the transmission assembled, you're now ready to attach it to the bar assembly. For this step you will need a 10mm wrench, a 13mm wrench, a 19mm wrench, and a torque wrench and 22mm socket with extension. Start by removing the two nuts and washers from the two central studs. Move the transmission close to the bar and align the drive pin bushing with the center yoke of the blade coupler. In order to fit the drive bushing into the yoke of the blade coupler, it may be necessary to enlarge the opening by retracting one of the coupler's two horizontal adjusting pins. To do so, loosen the set nut with the 19mm wrench, and then turn the pin counterclockwise with the 10mm wrench. Next, fit the gearbox onto the two central studs and the drive bushing into the yoke of the coupler. Secure the bar assembly to the transmission using the two 14mm washers and nuts. Most importantly, remember to place the dome of the washers facing upward. If in doubt, place the washer on a flat surface, and press down on the sides with a rocking motion. If the washer doesn't move, it is in the correct position. Using a 22mm socket, torque to 100 foot-pounds. Now turn the adjustable pin that you previously turned outward in the opposite direction, and make contact with the drive bushing until it can no longer rotate freely. Next, turn the pin counterclockwise about 1/8 of a turn. By creating a very slight amount of clearance, the bushing can now rotate freely and will not bind as the drive arm moves the blade assembly back and forth. Having established this position, hold the pin in place with the 10mm wrench and secure it by tightening the set nut with the 19mm wrench. Finally, attach the adjustable skid shoes to the bar. To do so, it is helpful to first mount the sickle bar to the tractor. If your tractor is equipped with a quick hitch bushing, first install your quick hitched hang onto the cutter bar transmission. Next, place a block of wood under the center portion of the bar at the level of your desired mowing height. Then, using the corresponding holes in the bar, bolt the skid assembly firmly to the bar with the 8mm bolts and a 13mm wrench. Lower the shoe to the floor and tighten the 2 remaining bolts. Repeat this same procedure on the other side, and you're finished and ready to mow. Keep in mind that the sickle bar is intended to be used at an engine speed of approximately half throttle. Excessive engine speed causes exaggerated vibration and the loosening of hardware. In conclusion, please know that we welcome your feedback and questions. To contact us about the content of this video, please call 888-224-4271 or email info@bcsamerica.com. Thank you.